Okay, guys, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of guidance today as you work through your volume problems. So remember, the first question you want to ask yourself is the shape a prism or a pyramid? Okay, so for a prism, it has two parallel bases. So like these first two are both going to be prisms. A pyramid is where all of the sides come up to a tip. So like, for example, this one on number 4, all of them come up to 1 point, okay? So from there, we're going to use our T-chart to go ahead and solve for volume. So number 1 and 2 are pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead and look at number 2 with you guys. So on number 2, as we know, our first step is going to be to shade in our base. Okay, so here I know it's not coming to a point, so I know it's not a pyramid, so it has to be a prism. And then I need two parallel bases. Well, I see it sitting on this rectangle, but there's not a rectangle up here that's parallel to it. So, and it also says the triangular prism. So that's telling me my base is a triangle. So my triangular prism below has a base height of 6 centimeters. All right, so base height is the height of my base. So I'm going to go ahead and label that. So 6 centimeters. What is the volume of the prism? Okay, so you want to make sure that we're using our formulas. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my T-chart. So I have big B on the left, and I have V on the right for volume. And I need to shade in my base. So my base is a triangle, which I know from the name and looking at the picture. Okay, so I am going to solve for area of the base. So since it's a triangle, I'm going to look at my formula chart. I know that area equals 1/2 base times height. So I'm looking here at the colored portion. So the base of my triangle is 8.4. So 1/2 8.4 times height, which we labeled and the problem told us. So 6. Okay. I always like to take half of one of these numbers if they're even. So half of 6 is 3. So 3 times 8.4. Right, so I'm going to do my math over here. 8.4 times 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 1 is 25. One number to the right of the decimal, so one number to the right of the decimal. Okay, so 25.2 centimeters squared. Okay, so that is just the area of the base. So I'm going to go again to my formula chart. I'm going to write my volume formula. So volume equals area of the base times height. All right, so for my big B, I'm going to plug in my 25.2. And then in my head, I'm going to think about, so first of all, I've already used 6 and 8, so I can't use those again. So the only number left here is my 10. But also, if I can see the base, I want to think about it standing up on the base. So right now it's laying down. So this would be the height of the prism. So times 10. Okay. So I know a trick when I multiply by 10, but maybe you guys don't. So if you don't, we're going to multiply. So I put a zeros. Now I'm on my second number. 1 times 2 is 2. 5, 2. There's one number to the right of the decimal. So it's going to be 252 centimeters cubed. And so just like when you multiply by 100, you move your decimal to the right 2 places. If I multiply by 10, I move it to the right 1. But I can also use my math and calculate it this way if I prefer. So then if there's not a decimal, or I know I put my decimal here, okay, so just to the left of the decimal is a 2, a 5, and a 2. And you always make sure you grid, or that you bubble in your numbers and that they're all in the right column. Double check your grids all the time, guys. Always, always. Okay, so I sometimes have caught people skipping a row. You can't skip a row. We can't just choose where the decimal goes. If there's not a decimal, it's like a period at the end. Okay. All right, so let's look at problem 3. So problem 3, it says Jessica's filling her fish tank with salt water. She has 5 cubic feet of salt water. Will she be able to fill her fish tank? Okay, so you guys are all masters at this. You know how to solve a problem with volume, right? You're going to do your T-chart. So big B and V, all right? If you don't want to do a fraction, we all know, because I have our fraction decimal quiz at 3/4, we think about quarters. 3/4 is 75 cents, so I can plug that in instead, okay? And the special thing about a rectangular prism is you can use any base that you want, and you only can use each number once. So that should make that easy for you. Now, once you solve your volume, you need to be writing yes or no, okay? So, because it says, will she be able to fill her fish tank? And so if I have 5 cubic feet of water, right, then I need the fish tank to require less than 5. So if my volume came out to 4, right, I would have enough water. But if my volume came out to, let's say, 10, and I only have 5 cubic feet of salt water, then I wouldn't have enough water, okay? So that should kind of help you out with the processing on that. I don't want to solve the volume with you because I'm confident that you know how to do that. All right, let's go ahead and look at a pyramid problem. So we'll look at number 4. It says Joseph is making a sand art pyramid. He wants to fill the bottom half with blue sand. How much blue sand will Joseph need to fill half of the pyramid? All right, so it's tricky. So guys, we're not just talking about volume anymore. We're needing to focus really on solving what the question is. So the question says half of the volume, right? So I'm going to make a note of that so I don't have to keep going back to my problem and I don't forget, okay? So now let's go ahead and do our T-chart. So big B, V. All right, I'm going to color in my base, and I know it's a pyramid, and I look at a pyramid. Pyramid only has one base, so my base is a triangle. So triangle, so 1/2 base times height. So 1/2, I have 8 and 6. Those are the numbers directly next to my base. So half of 8 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. That was glitchy. All right, and then I have a pyramid. So I need to use my volume of a pyramid formula. So that's 1/3 big B times height. Okay, so I still have my 1/3. My big B is what I just calculated. So it's 24. And then my height is how tall it is to the tippy top. So times 10. Okay, and I like to see if one of these numbers is divisible by 3. And 24 is, so 24 divided by 3 is 8. 8 times 10 is 80. Okay, so looky there, 80 is right there, and I could choose it, but I look back at my question mark. That's why I made a note of what the question was. And it says that she's making a sand pyramid, or Joseph. He wants to fill the bottom half. Okay, so we're not filling all of it with sand, we're filling the bottom half with sand. How much blue sand does he need? So I need to take half of it. So times 1/2 or divide it by 2. Half of 80 is going to be 40 inches cubed. All right, so that's A. Okay, so we want to make sure, guys, that we are not just assuming that we're solving for volume and that is what the question's asking us for. We want to make sure that we're really reading the question. Now, if we had forgotten to take the 1/3, our answer would have been there too. So all of these answers would have been logical answers, and like this probably would have been our answer if we forgot to take half here. So make sure we're going step by step. Goodness, I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry. Step by step, and we're really using our T-chart and using our formulas to make sure we're successful. All right, let's look at number 6 because we haven't done a problem like this in a while. So it says, this morning in Gothenburg, Sweden, it was -2 degrees Celsius. The average temperature for Gothenburg is 3.5. What is the difference between today's temperature and the average? So any temperature problem, we should be drawing a thermometer. Okay, so we're at 0. It says it was -2. And it says the average is up here at 3.5. And it's asking for the difference. So when it's asking for the difference, you're looking at, okay, I had to travel from here to here. So that's traveling 3.5. And then I traveled 2 more steps. So I need this together, okay? And if it's asking for a distance, like you can never, we're not talking about walking backwards. Like we're talking about traveling on a number line or a thermometer a distance. We can't go negative difference. The difference can never be negative. So make sure you line up your decimal and put it in your grid correctly. All right, let's take another look at number 7. So 7 says, what is the lateral surface area of the triangular pyramid below? So triangular pyramid, so I know it's a pyramid and I know the base is a triangle. This is lateral surface area. So if you remember, lateral means the sides, okay? So we always colored in our base. So my base is this. So if that is my base, the sides are what would fold upward. Okay, so I'm looking for these triangles here. All right, and lateral surface area means I'm going to use my area formulas. All right, so we're going to be using our triangle area equals 1/2 base times height. Okay, so I want to take one more look at a problem together. Let's see. You guys should be pretty good. So make sure that you're paying attention as you're reading these problems today. So this one, I would draw a picture, okay? Always draw a picture if there's not a picture. So it's a suitcase. He says he's going to Mount Rainier. He's decided to take only one suitcase in the shape of a rectangular prism. So a rectangular prism, draw your picture. Okay, it is 14 inches wide. So here we go, 14 inches wide, 30 inches tall, and 24 inches long. Okay, what's the volume? So there's that one. Once you get to number 10, it says the 3 blocks are all identified as, or the 3 blocks are all identical cubes with a side length of 2 inches. So 2 inches, and it's a cube. A cube is like a perfect square. It says, what is the combined volume? So it's asking for the volume of 3 cubes, all right? Just like down here, what is the volume of the triangular prism if you triple its height? So we're talking about tripling the height of the prism. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. So we need to be tripling the height of the prism and finding that volume. Okay, so make sure we're really paying attention to our words. We're reading them, we're text coding, and make sure to ask for help if you need it. All right.